What is up, guys? Thank you for coming back for another episode with Drinks with Drake. Today we are here with Kyle. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Give a little, what is your job title here?
I wear a lot of different hats at this company. I do some live tech support. I help out with the R&D on the Slingshot.
Slingshot Man.
Slingshot Man.
AKA Mr. Slingshot, AKA Mr. Worldwide, AKA the most interesting man in the world we're here with today.
I do some personal assistant type stuff for Zoom. I run one of our eBay stores. So
lots of hats.
Lots of hats.
Sweet. Well, the first thing we're going to plug today, since you are the Slingshot guy, I don't know what the hell this thing does, but you can go ahead and explain this thing.
That is our soon-to-be-released header for the naturally aspirated guys on their Slingshots. It's going to have this V-band flange on the end, which is going to mount up with our muffler for the Slingshot. It'll be sold as a package. We will also be releasing a different version of that will bolt up to the stock exhaust as well.
What comes in the package?
In this package, it'll be the header and our ZZP muffler, which is the same muffler that comes with our turbo kit.
Okay, sick. Cool plug. We'll keep that down there so everybody can kind of take a peek at it.
Yep.
So, since this is called Drinks with Drake, you brought me something special. Usually I pick something up that you like, but couldn't get this around here, so...
Right.
What do we got here?
Right here in the back, this is Mama Juana from Dominican Republic.
Mama Juana.
Mama Juana. So, it's a bunch of different barks and roots that are chopped up and crammed into a bottle. And then it is a mixture of honey, rum, and a few other things.
Whew. Okay, and then what do we got here?
So this bottle is actually 6 years old. So the older it sits, the smoother it gets, the better it tastes.
So I was still a teenager when this thing first came out.
Right.
Okay.
This is Papa's Pilar. It's a 24-year-old rum that is actually made by a company out of southern Florida. They take a bunch of different rums that they source from Central America and then a bunch more that they source in the Caribbean. They bring them all to the U.S., they blend them all together, and then they age it in oak casks, and then they go into a sherry cask, and then they finish the process in a port cask. So you get this like kind of sweet, very velvety, smooth rum at the end of the day.
I'm going to call this episode The Taste of the Caribbean.
There you go.
What do you think?
I think it's a good name.
Okay, cool. So let's pour one of these. I don't know how this works. We'll start with the shots. We're gonna rip a shot. Okay.
We're gonna rip a shot.
This is
that's how you always start to get
for you guys. This is the first shot getting ripped on Drinks with Drake, so that's interesting. I'll tell you guys the time right now is 11:03 a.m.
Hope you had a good breakfast.
Yeah, I'm fresh off vacation too, so I'm.
Yeah, you were in Miami. How was that?
No, I was in Fort Myers. Miami's April.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, hopefully.
But you were still down in Florida. I mean, the weather was warmer. It was nicer.
Yeah, so the weather was pretty good. It wasn't as warm as I wanted it to be, but it was better than. I heard it was like freezing here last week.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
we had like standing snow, bad streets.
Ooh. All right. Well, this is called being on the rocks, I believe.
Right. So, some people, connoisseurs would say that you are ruining it with ice, but
they can.
I say fuck them.
Fuck that. I'm
can you say fuck that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Can they bleep it out?
Well, we're just going to keep it.
All right, that's fine.
This is a triple X episode. All right, here we go.
All right. Salud.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? That's good, right?
It's really good.
Yeah.
We should do another one.
We can do another one if you want.
All right, we'll do that.
You want to move on to this first, though?
Sure. So let's give a little taste of this.
Now you don't have to throw this whole thing down. This is something that you're going to want to sip on for a hot minute.
I'm 22. Usually I just throw this thing back.
You're throwing it back.
We just
you got to put your big boy pants on.
Yeah.
Give it a sniff.
Okay. You just take a sip, huh?
That's good.
Not bad.
That's the kind of stuff you drink when you don't want to die broken penniless.
Yeah. That's smooth. That kind of burns your tummy a little bit.
Burns your tummy a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. It's good stuff.
It's warm.
Appreciate you bringing it on.
Yeah, of course.
Let's jump right into it. So, obviously, you work here at ZZP. Obviously, you're the Slingshot guy. What were you doing before ZZP? Were you a car guy?
I've always been into motorsports in general. I got my first motorcycle when I was 5.
Whew.
I started racing dirt bikes at 6. I moved on to street bikes after that. I was actually riding street bikes before I had my driver's license.
Oh, bad boy.
Well, it was on a track.
Oh, okay.
So
Still
it was
bad boy.
still legal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've always been into some sort of motorsports ever since I was born. Dad was always really into like racing stuff. He always had some sort of cool car around, or my dad was really big into motorcycles, so obviously that got transferred down to me.
Was he a Harley guy?
No, he's always been. He had one like custom built chopper. My dad never really hangs on to anything for too long. He rides it for a year or two, gets his fill of it, and he sells it, gets something else. But growing up, once we kind of like moved away from dirt bikes, we really got into street bikes as a family. And my dad always had like 6-7 bikes in the garage at any one time.
Whew, you were burning rubber.
Yeah, and you know my dad, he never bought any of the. He had some of the staple bikes in there, like he had a Honda in there for a while, he had a Kawasaki for a while, but most of the bikes that he would buy would be like Bimotas, Ducatis, things that you don't normally see on the street. Mm-hmm. So that was always pretty cool. It was really neat being able to grow up and get to experience those different bikes that most people don't ever get to ride.
Yeah. So you have a son. How old is he?
He turns 4 in 2 days, actually.
Whew.
Yep.
Better be forking out some cash for some presents.
Whew. Well, his birthday, or Christmas, was just like a month ago, so he kind of gets pumped in that aspect.
Yeah, he gets 2, basically, in 1 month.
Right.
Basically.
So I dialed back the presents a little bit, because you kind of don't want to be like, holidays are more than just like showering your kid with gifts. There's family time in there, and trying to get them to steer in that direction.
Yeah. The reason why I ask is you said that you got your first bike when you were 5.
Right.
So what's the word?
I'll probably get him something, because it would be cool for me to get back into bikes too.
Yeah.
I don't currently have. I've sold off all the dirt bikes. I sold off all the street bikes that I had. But it would be cool to get back into that and just kind of like relive that same experience that I had with my dad.
Yeah, that'd be sick. So the reason why I called you Mr. Worldwide and the most interesting man in the world is because you didn't always live in the U.S. Is that correct?
No. I've been around a little bit.
Been around the block.
Been around the block. Kind of like Jenny.
Yeah.
Right.
Nonsense, Jenny.
That's probably before your time.
So where were you at when you were like around the block?
I spent 9 years in Los Angeles.
L.A. boy.
LA boy. Lived all over. I literally moved every single year.
That's sweet.
Just so I could be in different spots and kind of experience Los Angeles as a whole. But there's so much traffic, so it's hard to get around over there.
Yeah.
And then when I left LA, I went to Miami, and I was in Miami 4 years, or 4 years? 5 years.
Was that your favorite place so far?
Top 2.
Top 2.
Yeah, Miami was amazing. Miami was it was a very lucrative move for me. I went down there following my music dream. I'd been DJing a lot in Los Angeles and before I left LA, and I went down there to further pursue my dream of working in the music industry, and I got to work with a Grammy award-winning producer down there. His name is George Noriega.
George Noriega. Shout out George.
Shout out to George Noriega. Fantastic guy, fantastic family. Great experience. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of money in the music industry unless you're the producer or the front man of the band and whatnot. So I moved on from that. I actually went to a bartending interview at the Fontainebleau Hotel. And it turned out to be like this cattle call. There was like 100 people there. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting this job. Like, I'm a good bartender, but I'm not like a Miami.
You made a hell of a drink.
Luckily, there's only one ingredient, so it's hard to mess up.
Not bad.
So I went to this big cattle call, and my background when I was in LA was I also worked for Gianni Versace on Rodeo Drive for a long time.
Bro, that's my dream.
So
you see, they just released it on Netflix. The Killing of
Did they?
Gianni Yeah, you got to watch it.
I'll have to check that out.
Go on with the story. I'm sorry.
So working with like pro athletes and high profile celebrities was kind of a norm for me. So they saw that on my resume, and I actually got a call back thinking I wasn't going to get called back.
Right.
And they said that they had a position starting where it would be like a celebrity VIP host, but out on the pool deck.
Oh.
So I got to work outside on the pool year round, which
With
was
a bunch of famous people.
with famous people most of the time, or just like high net worth individuals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I built a lot of great relationships around that. I was booking people in nightclubs all the time. I started chartering private jets for people, private yachts, stuff like that.
Holy smokes.
It was a lot of fun, and I was living the Miami life.
Yeah.
It was great. Didn't sleep a whole lot, but that's just kind of how it goes.
When you're that young, might as well not.
Right, live it up.
You can sleep when you're dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I left Miami, and I got married in Miami, actually.
Okay.
I got married in Miami, and then we moved to Dominican Republic.
Where at?
Initially, we moved on the North Shore in a little town called Cabarete.
I think I've been there. It's by Puerto Plata.
It is. It's actually 2 cities over from
Yeah,
Puerto Plata.
I went there. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So every year they have like the World Kite Surfing Championships on Kite Beach in Cab.
Yeah.
So that's always really cool because you can go out there on any given day and you'll see like 30, 40, 50 kites all up in the sky.
That's sweet.
Just hanging out, which is really cool. And back then it was just like a sleepy little beach town. So it was really, really
Not
cool.
anymore.
Not anymore. I actually was just there a month ago, and it's significantly different, a lot busier. But that's good.
Yeah.
Boosts up tourism and brings in revenue for the country, so that's good. And then I ended up getting a divorce, and I went back to Miami, and I was in Miami for a hot minute, and then I ended up coming back to Michigan.
Why did you want to come back to Michigan?
It was just kind of home base.
Yeah.
Divorce is rough, and I just kind of needed. Miami was just too much at that point. I couldn't just like get back into that groove. It was a hard groove to get into.
Yeah.
And so I came back, and I started. That was the first time when I started working for ZZP. So I worked at ZZP when we were in the old building.
And what did you do when you first got to ZZP?
A
better question is, how did you start at ZZP? We'll go there.
I've actually known Zoom for like 16, 18 years, something like that. Zoom and I go way back.
Yeah. So Zoom's a buddy, not just
Zoom's
a
a
boss.
buddy. Zoom's a buddy. He's a great friend, which is kind of why like I do some of the personal assistant stuff for him.
Right.
So I got brought into ZZP. I was working down at there was a head shop called Purple East. It's still in business.
Okay.
And I was working down there, and I was talking to him. He's like, "Hey, I got a new position at ZZP. You might be a good fit for it. Why don't you come down and see what it's all about?" So I did. And it was kind of a combination of what Choi and Tran and Freddie do.
Okay.
So I was doing all the kidding.
Okay, cool.
But it's not anything like we have now. It was on a very much smaller scale. It was, hey, we need 10 of these turbo kits. Can you build them up? So
what year was this roughly?
Put
a time base on things.
2010.
Okay.
Right around there.
So about 10 years of business so far with ZZP was around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked here for like 2 years, and then I had a friend of mine call me up, and she was like, "Hey, there's a new nightclub opening up in Punta Cana. You should come run it. You'd be great for it." And I'm like, what's it all about? She's like, "Well, go check it out on Facebook." I check it out. This thing is fucking massive.
Sick.
And I'm like,
I'd have a hell of a
it's
time.
not even built yet, though. So all you're seeing is like these 3D renderings, but they're telling you about like how big this place is. And it's like 3 floors, it's 30,000 square feet. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just not qualified to run a club that big.
Okay.
But nobody knows that.
Right.
Maybe I am.
You got to fake it
I've
till you
never
make
run
it.
one that big.
I wear fake jewelry sometimes. Fake it till you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I had run bars in the past. I was actually the general manager at Louis down on Bridge Street when that was around. Your dad actually used to come in there from time to time.
Yep. Shout out Pops.
Shout out Pops. So I was like, F it, let's try it.
Right.
So I started messaging guys on Facebook that appeared to be, I did some stalking, I'm not going to lie, I started Facebook stalking these 2 dudes. And not in that kind of way, though, but to find out information about
I know
the
what
club.
you're saying.
You see where I'm going. So I started Facebook stalking them, and I found the 2 guys that I thought were like running the place. And it turns out they were the owners. And they were still looking for DJ equipment. I said, hey, I've got 3 full rigs. I'll sell them to you. I'll even bring them down there to you. But I want a job.
Whew.
And they were like, we'll talk about a job when you get here, but yeah, we'll buy all your stuff. Come on down. So they paid for my plane tickets. They paid for all the extra baggage fees.
So worst case scenario, you're getting a free vacation.
Right. Worst case scenario. So I get down there and they take me on a tour of the club. And I get there and it's 4 walls and dirt floors.
Oh.
There's nothing there yet.
Disappointment.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm like,
what the hell?
Right, because I'm thinking this is a 30,000 square foot club. Like, this is going to take a long time to build.
Right.
So they used a company called Disco Designer, which manufactures like nightclub furniture and stuff. And they bought pretty much everything in Disco Designer's inventory to fill this club. LED ceilings, DJ booths, the whole 9 yards. And Disco Designer had sent 30 guys from Bulgaria to come down and build this. And then they also had a team of like 50 or 60 Dominicans down there. Whew. And they took this thing from a dirt floor and 4 walls to a fully operational nightclub in 90 days.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I actually started out just like programming the lighting systems and tuning the sound system. I was sweeping floors. I was doing whatever I could to get my foot in the door.
Right. And
I started off running lights, and then I started DJing a little bit, started bartending a little bit, wherever I could fill in and just like kind of get that job security. Mm-hmm. The general manager ended up embezzling like $90,000 in the first 90 days they were open.
Holy smokes.
And they got rid of that guy, and they were like, will you run the club for us? I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Right.
So I ran the club for the next 4 years, and my girlfriend at the time got pregnant, and then we decided to come back to the States and have him born here, because the hospitals down there are pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
And
it's better that he's born in the U.S. too.
Yeah. So
legal reasons and everything.
We came back, and over this whole time, I talked with Zoom probably every other month, and just touching base.
Right.
And a couple times he had said, hey, why don't you come back and work? And at those times, like, it just wasn't the right time. The timing wasn't right. Mm-hmm. But why would it be? I'm on a tropical island running a nightclub.
Yeah.
Why
is
why
there
would
ever
you
a time right?
Right. Why would you want to come back? I think your light just went out.
Yeah, I had one out. That's okay.
Fine. But then, I was having a kid, and I had actually interviewed at a different hotel there for a management position. And they kind of like just slept on it. And then Zoom and I talked, and we kind of struck up a deal. And I was like, all right, I'm coming back to Grand Rapids. Because I wasn't initially going to come back to Grand Rapids. I was going to probably go back to Miami or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I came back to Grand Rapids, and I started running the install bay here. Something I had actually never done before. And Zoom sold it to me. He's like, it's just like running a nightclub, but with cars. Oh. It's not.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. So I started running that, and then it just wasn't my thing. But that's the great thing about ZZP. Like, you can not be great at something, and you don't just get written up and fired. Right. Like, ZZP is great like that, because they will figure out your strengths, and they will find a spot for you.
That's what I always say too. It's pretty cool.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did. And then everything after I left there, I just started doing customer service. And then we were renting cars on Turo for a while, so I took that on. I just kind of just kept on taking small little projects on until I kind of just found my niche.
Right. So what's a day in the life of Kyle Dewey at ZZP? Obviously, it could be a lot of different things.
It's a lot of different things. I mean, I could walk in and I could just be strapped to my computer all day, shooting emails and answering tech questions. Right. In the springtime, I'll get a cool day, or I'll get to go up to Zoom has a lake house on Blue Lake, which is about 45 minutes north of here.
I can't wait to go there.
It's sweet.
I've never been yet.
It's a beautiful house. It's like
they got jet skis.
We have 2 of them. We have 2 Sea-Doos.
I'm a big jet ski guy.
They're fun. It's like 4,000 square feet. Like, it's not a small house.
So it's not a lake house. It's a home.
It's a home. It's a large
There's a
home.
difference between a cottage and a home.
It's definitely not a cottage.
Yeah.
Someone says lake house, and you think, oh, it's like, a cute little...
wooden, everything.
Like 1,500 square feet.
Does the house have heat and AC?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then it's not a cottage.
It's got a full wet bar downstairs. Like, it's not...
It's badass.
It's sweet.
Can't wait.
So one of my days come springtime is I'll have to grab a truck, go up to the lake house, grab the 2 Sea-Doos, which I have in storage up there right now, and then I'll drop them in the water and I'll ride them from the public access up to the house and then put them in the lake.
So sick.
So like that could be one of my days.
Yeah.
Or Zoom could call me and be like, hey, I need ABC done, and I have to go do those tasks.
Yeah.
There's so much difference. Or I could be just making ads on eBay all day.
Sounds like a pretty cool job.
It's not a bad gig. There's definitely worse jobs to be had.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great work environment. It's a great place to work. There's so many different personalities here. Yeah. And it's a very...
You have to fit in here.
You do have to fit in here.
Yeah.
This is not a place that just anybody can work at.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not. You have to fit in. You have to have a thick skin. But if you do fit in and you do have a thick skin, it's probably the best job you're ever going to have.
I never wake up thinking I'm going to work. Like, look at my job. I get to do a podcast with all the cool people here.
And that's what I'm saying. And
drinking
we're getting paid to drink.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Right.
Keep it down a little bit, though. I don't want them to shut this down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we're doing it classy and we're not going overboard. We got our big boy pants on and
go take a nice little lunch, sober up a little bit.
Sober up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I've had some sweet jobs. Miami was one of them. Dominican Republic was another. Those were both amazing jobs. When I was younger and I could do whatever the hell I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Now you're a papa.
Now I'm papa. Papa's be loud.
Shout out Papa Pia.
Yep. And, you know, I got my big boy pants on. But, like, even that being said, like, I got a great job. I get to go race a slingshot. I get to do all kinds of different stuff. My days are always different. It's constantly changing.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty shitty if, like, every day here was such a repetitive job. And I don't think anybody here has that of a repetitive job. I don't think anybody does. Yeah.
Because we all wear so many hats. But yeah, I mean, if all I did was sit at my computer all day answering tech questions, it would be a little redundant. I don't think
Might get a little nutty.
Yeah, like I don't think I could hang in there for... I'm on 4 years on this round, and I was here 2 years the prior round, so yeah. I don't think I could. I don't think I could hang in there that long.
So you've been here. So you've been here for 4 years on your second stretch,
right?
When and how did you get the slingshot? Tell me that story.
Nobody here likes the slingshot.
No, I know people. I know people here that like the slingshot.
The slingshot, it's also classified as a motorcycle, so you have to have a motorcycle endorsement to drive it. I think I'm one of 3 or 4 people in the building that has that endorsement.
Did I tell you that I saw a slingshot down in Fort Myers?
There's a lot of them down in Florida in general.
His was trash.
His was trashed?
Trash. No, it was just a trash one. Not as cool as mine. I walked up to him and I said, hey man, cool slingshot, but did you know I work for the place that has the fastest slingshot in the world?
Second fastest.
No, I told him the fastest, so I lied.
Well, it's the minor details.
That guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
But we will be the fastest.
We will be the fastest. I am going to take that title back.
I was just like predicting the future.
I was the fastest.
Yeah.
And
so I wasn't lying then.
I'm actually only not the fastest by like 2 miles an hour. That's not much.
No, not much.
No.
Not when we got this cool...
well, that's not going to go on mine. Mine's turbo. Oh. And you can't use that on a turbo application.
Okay, well...
Minor detail, though. Again,
minor detail.
You don't have to know that part.
Yeah.
You just got to... Yeah.
I just got to flaunt it.
Right.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean... I totally just lost my train of thought.
How did you get it?
How did I get it? We were in a development meeting, and it was just kind of put on me. They were like, we need somebody to go take it out, promote it, drive it, do social media posts for it. And I was like...
I'll do it.
I'll do it. I love that thing. It's a blast to drive.
I've rode in it.
You were a little scared.
We had no seatbelt.
Again, the minor details.
Minor details. If I would have fell out, I might have just bumped my head. A couple scraped elbows.
You had a helmet, you'd have been fine.
Yeah, I'd been fine.
Little road rash and a helmet, you'd have walked away, no problem.
100 plus, we're all good.
Once,
yeah,
it's fine.
Just speeding.
And I mean, we were in Mexico when we did that because I would never drive 100 plus on the highway.
Exactly. Yeah, that Mexico trip was awesome.
It was a great trip.
Yeah,
I had fun down there.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love Tijuana?
Right.
Right.
So you got the slingshot. Then when did you start building it?
I got it and it already had a turbo kit on it.
Okay.
It just needed more testing at that spot, and then I want to start racing it. And one of ZZPerformance's like mantras is any market we go into, we dominate, and we just take that market.
Total domination.
We're the biggest Ecotech part supplier on the planet. We've made more power with a 2-liter Ecotech than anybody else. So that's what we set out to do with the slingshot. And I started doing like quarter-mile drags. I'm fairly close to the guy that holds the record. Mine would be a little bit different, though. He's got an auto trans on his, and he was running a full slick, and I'm not going to put an auto trans in mine. And
I don't know if that's real driving.
listen,
I'm not trying to give him shots, but
no,
anybody could put their foot to the ground.
right. I would agree with that, but at the same time, nobody can shift faster than an auto trans.
Yeah, true. Got to have a quick right hand.
Right, but I like shifting.
Yeah,
It's good. I think any of the hardcore guys are like that.
yeah,
So the quarter-mile stuff, it's fun. I usually use that for like testing and dialing the slingshot in. But I found out that after we started doing a lot of racing with it, that all the guys that were competing with it are doing standing half-mile runs. So then I started doing the half-mile runs, which I like half-mile stuff better anyway.
yeah,
It's a lot faster. There's a little more risk involved, but it's fun. And, the risk is just one of those things that we accept. That's why we do it.
right.
But yeah, it's fun. So we started doing the half-mile stuff. And we just started developing it and putting more and more parts on it, testing those parts, and we started diving into the tuning a lot more. And makes a lot of power, and it's really fast now.
I'm excited for this spring.
I'm excited for this spring too.
Speaking of spring, this is the last question I usually ask everybody.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most? What are you going to do with the slingshot? Do you have any goals that's going to be going on?
My only goal this
bucket
year is
list?
to take the standing half-mile record.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds like an easy goal.
It should be.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of work with aerodynamics. We just put a big front splitter on it.
I don't know what that means, but I'll go down there and look at it.
Right. So what I was doing is once I got above 120, the front fenders on the slingshot are really wide, and they start to act as parachutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're good.
One drink and one shot? I'm already bumping microphones.
It's that Mama Juana.
It's the Mama Juana. So the front end was getting really light above 120, so we put this big lip up on there, and that should add a significant amount of downforce, which should keep that front end planted. The last half mile we went to last year, there was a big crosswind coming across the runway, and it got a little sketchy and a little sideways for a quick second, and it was enough to make me want to pack it up and go home.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was already the fastest on the planet. I was like, I got this. This guy ain't going to go any faster.
Right.
Wrong.
Dude, smoked it.
Smoked it 2 mile an hour.
Shit.
It happens, man.
We're coming for him this year.
I'm going to get him this year.
All right.
I already know that he's pretty much at the top of his peak power abilities. And my slingshot will rev higher than his. So as long as I can rev out.
Sounds like a competition.
Right. I got it.
You got it.
I got it. That's pretty much my only goal for this year.
Yeah.
I want to drive it more and have more fun. I think I can do that because my son is 4 now, and he's big. He's like the size of a 6-year-old.
Big boy. I've seen him.
Yeah. So, but he loves the slingshot. That's his favorite thing on the planet. So I usually just strap him in, and we can go for rides and stuff. But he's at a point now where he's big enough to where he can ride in it more regularly. Right. Before, we were just kind of I just throw the car seat in there. We tool around town pretty slow.
Yeah.
And, just keep it safe and simple. Not that I wouldn't do that now, but
right.
I would say it's probably a little more acceptable that he rides in that thing.
Right. He's got a helmet on. I seen him.
Yeah. I got him a brand new full face helmet for Christmas, and
loves it.
So yeah, he loves it. So I think this year I'll be able to daily it a little bit more. Where last year I was pretty much only driving it when we were going to race it and tune it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun.
Sick.
That's my only goal for this year. I'm going to be the fastest on the planet. That's the only thing I got going.
Okay, cool.
I don't have nightclubs anymore, so I have to live for something.
Yeah, live for that.
Right, I'm going to live for that.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. Let's rip one more shot before we go.
I'm all about that.
Okay.
I need to finish this because I'm behind you. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm listening. You're speaking most of the time. Go ahead and pour that bad boy.
All right.
I really like this one. I like this more than I liked the this one.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's quite a bit
Smooth.
different. Yeah,
It's
it's real
tasty.
smooth.
Oh man, you're almost out. I just almost.
That's all right. That's all right. That's what I brought this here for.
Oh, sick. All right.
You know, not
cheers.
many people get to drink this, especially one that's old. Cheers, Mom.
Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have another episode next week with somebody that you guys like a lot. So that's it.
Thanks, guys.